You're listening to the Board Game Snobs podcast, a ridiculous podcast with ridiculous hosts that discuss ridiculous things. And any mention of board games is purely coincidental. And so, without further ado, and with a heavy dollop of shame and embarrassment on my part, I give you the Board Game Snobs.
Go.
And welcome to the Board Game Snobs. Jerry, this is Jerry. This is me. Say Ricky.
Oh, do I gotta say me?
That's smooth introduction.
I'm sorry.
And I'm smooth.
Jerry, this is Jerry. I'm Gavi.
Why don't you do something?
And welcome to the Board Game Snobs. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. As
Something that's not cliche.
We like cliche.
Something smooth like Jerry. This is Jerry.
That's natural.
A little too natural.
It's natural, and people like honesty. They don't like this fakeness. Fake.
Welcome to episode 275, I believe this one will be.
We're going to hit 300. 25 episodes. See, I already knew that was coming.
In 25 weeks, approximately. If we don't miss an episode between now and then.
Which we probably will.
Why?
Guys, we just do sometimes. We have an off season.
25 weeks is half a year.
Enrique, you there?
Almost.
More or less. Why am I here?
I don't know why you're here.
So that's going to be like
What?
When a man
in the middle of May.
loves a woman.
About May, right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
October, November, December, January, February. No, sometime in March, I think we'll hit
This
about
is
300.
riveting.
As if we don't miss an episode. But between now and then, there's a lot of stuff going on. You're going to be at BGG. I will not be at BGG.
You're going to be at BGG.
I may be
For
at BGG briefly.
Briefly at BGG.
But
You'll be
BGG. BGG always is on the anniversary of G&G. That's Gabi and Gina.
Well, you can always
uninitiated.
you can always go what Jerry suggested and just ditch it and come with us.
Yeah, who cares? You can celebrate your anniversary any day. Why are you taking off multiple days to celebrate your anniversary and not
Well,
going
what
anywhere?
happened was, here's what happened was, they actually had planned a surprise thing for us.
Who did?
But it got blowed up because we didn't have the days available that they thought there were.
Who planned this?
Friends. Dear friends.
We've already
Is it
done this for
Paige?
your 20th anniversary.
Every 5 years, apparently.
Nobody. Why are they doing this? This is weird.
I don't know. They didn't invite you?
I didn't know nothing about it.
Well, I guess that puts...
Who invited you? What thing? What thing?
We're supposed to go to a cabin and have a nice weekend.
Oh, thank God, because I'd be
you
at
go.
BGG.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so they invite me.
You wouldn't invite it anyway.
Your last one, your
That's
20th,
that's
ruined
the
my
week-
weekend.
That's the weekend before BGG.
Mm-hmm.
But our anniversary is Tuesday the 14th.
Okay.
So
Why can't you go to BGG?
Because I'm taking off work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Why? You're celebrating your anniversary that weekend, but why are you taking off 3 days after?
Because I have holidays. I like to take off work.
Well,
when I
then
have
why don't you
vacation
take
day
them
early.
off for BGG?
Because I'm taking them off to be with my wife on our anniversary.
Is she taking off
You know
those
how
days
many
too?
times I've been at BGG on my anniversary? Many times.
Yeah, so why does it matter now?
Because this is a big one. You go on the 25s. Every 5 years is something.
On your 20th,
5s, 10s, 15s, 20s. Those count. Don't come to me with 1 and 2 and 3. Or even 9. Don't come to me with their 9-year anniversary.
9.
You got a nice round 10 or an odd prime 5. I am anniversary prime.
I thought when you said 10, I thought 9 was the 10, like you know how they do the medals. Like in 25 diamond.
No, diamond's 50.
Is it? Mm-hmm. What's 25? Aluminum?
Probably.
Aluminium, as the British say.
I know 25 or 30 is silver, because I remember my parents celebrating that one.
That's awful. It's cheap. But anyway, so you're not going to be at BGG.
Well, you convinced me to come up Saturday,
That'd
Friday
be nice.
night.
That would be nice. And me and Enrique shall be there. Hopefully, Bubba will show.
If you want to come see me, I'll be holed up in the hotel room because I won't have a badge.
You won't have a badge.
Unless somebody
We're gonna
wants
have to
to buy
sneak
me
him
one.
in. We're gonna have to sneak you in.
That's the only thing that people respect is a badge and a gun. So Ryan Maxwell, you need to hit me up, send me an email or DM me so we can do our annual bowling with the snobs like we do. And if you're going to be at BGG 2023 and would like to go bowling with us the Wednesday, the first day, that's when we generally do it. We show up, we check in, we go bowling. So send us an email, boardgamesnobs@gmail.com if you're coming to the board game.
Please do
geek.
send us an email because we've been a little. We need more emails.
We're a little light on the fan interaction, mainly because we've been kind of helter-skelter here lately, haven't we?
Well, we do good at putting out regularly, but putting out podcasts regularly. We do
Just
edit point.
Very smooth. Yeah, say edit point out loud. Don't edit that out. Everybody, see, you're like, oh, that's real smooth. You edit out all your junk, and then you're like, oh, edit point.
We put out podcasts.
You have an edit point complex. Get it? Oedipus complex, edit point complex. That's for all my Freudians out there.
But we did receive one email.
Uno.
From Christopher of Doran Phoenix fame on the Discord. This is your Discord pal, Doran Phoenix. No, not Duran. This is in regards to Rush Hour 1 or 2.
Huh?
He said Rush Hour 2 is better. The comedy/humor simply hits harder than Rush Hour 1. However, he put in capital letters, he yelled that at you. However, one could argue that several of the jokes are funnier if you've seen the first movie. Callbacks. That's what that is in showbiz terms. I would still choose to watch the second film if given the chance. The scene where Chris Tucker poorly speaks Chinese in the gangster hangout is hilarious. Rush Hour has the best line of the series, though. Wipe yourself off, man. You're dead. You dead. I did a poor reading of that. But I'm not going to try to imitate Chris Tucker either.
Rush Hour had, which come out August 2001, was the highest financially successful of the Rush Hour series. Made $347 million worldwide. Just FYI.
So that's how you're measuring metrics now?
Oh, no, you always say that. So I'm always
I'm just double checking.
No, you're always like, and so I always do.
Rush Hour 1 was more financially successful than 2?
Rush Hour 2 was.
Oh. Okay, I was about to say, it seems odd. Christopher says, thank you for my favorite entertainment. We are his favorite entertainment? I find that hard to believe.
Surely he's got something else that's entertains him.
Turn on your television set and stream something. But you know what? I don't have a favorite entertainment right now. I don't listen to podcasts anymore, and it's really got me down.
I'm 100 hours in on Starfield. I don't have a favorite.
You are into Starfield. Tremendous. When Jerry said, I had a discussion with Jerry on text.
Via text.
And we were talking about Starfield, and I said I downloaded it because it's on Xbox Game Pass for free. Although technically it's not free because you pay, $15 a month for Xbox Game Pass. I'm 3 hours in.
You're 1.5 hours.
1.5 hours in. It feels like 3. It's enjoyable. I like answering the questions with multiple choice.
It's not questions.
That's what this game is, right?
Yeah.
I like those multiple choice question
so
games.
Far, you've got them all right. The game keeps letting you go.
And it's interesting. Then Jerry texts me, and he's like, yeah, I'm a little obsessed. Don't judge me. And he shows me his time on it is over 3 days. And that's not like I've been on it for 3 days. Like, I played it this day. That means you've collected at least 72 hours worth of play time, right?
Yeah, I'm almost close to 100 now.
When have you been playing it?
After
work, during work, or are you taking days off work?
I'm just doing it. You make it happen. It doesn't. I think this is because I don't certain types of entertainment. Since we're discussing entertainment, thank you, Christopher. I don't really get into, but I tend to at times will indulge in something to an extreme for a period of time,
I
then
rock the
stop.
mic like a vandal.
So, like, this is just one of those times, and that's it. And then I'll be bored of it, and I'll stop. It's just how I do. It's what I do.
Do you get bored of it and stop, or do you complete it and stop?
I know I'll complete it, but then keep going. I'll just start over. So it's really until I get bored.
I remember when Skyrim came out.
2011.
And I remember it being a big deal because they're like, it basically has this like, I don't understand it. Y'all will, because I'm not into this type of gaming. But they're like, it has like these it's constantly like self-producing
Quest. Yeah.
quests.
Yeah. And it wasn't that great, but yeah, it sends you on fetch quests at random.
Is that like an AI thing?
No, it was just that it just would say,
It
hey,
generates quests.
it just would generate something.
So you can play the game forever, technically.
Well,
It will
there were
technically-
side quests. Man, like you completed the main stuff.
Right.
But
you could,
none of the self-generated quests were any fun.
Because
They would just go pick this thing up. Go to Aldi's,
Oh.
grab this, come back. That's all it was.
So Starfield has the same thing.
No.
No?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought pretty much like since Skyrim, probably all games did that.
No.
not because
Because it was weird.
Really?
It's not handcrafted. You're basically letting something which
The
has been
computer's creating those, correct?
correct. Yes. What do you think they're? Well, no. Who do you think's
Well,
creating
I didn't
them?
know. Like, it's not programmed by the programmers. They're like put it into the computer to like just kind of AI quest
Well,
this thing.
even AI is programmed.
Correct, but not somebody personally designed it. That's a discussion about the art. Big deal. Terraforming Mars, the dice game.
Because it's
hear about that?
AI art.
Or-
AI art.
We'll discuss that momentarily because I have no thoughts on it personally.
Oh, well, like you know my thoughts on it. I've been ranting and raving about how, like Mid-Journey, I use Mid-Journey, which is one of the AI programs where you can just produce various pieces of art. You tell it what you want, you give it the parameters, and it will produce something. And I mean, it's interesting, but I also think that just like in this regards, is that it can only produce something it's not original.
Right.
So it's just something, but I digress. I think that people will always fall back onto artwork made by actual people because it will be original, and plus people want to support artists.
AI art seems inevitable. Everybody's using it. Lots of programmers are using it. If you look at lots of board gamers and their art and their JPEGs and all that, like the stuff they use seems to be AI derived. What? So then it's like, well, is this the artist programming it and telling it what to do? Does that count? Or I don't understand.
Okay, so Mid-Journey is just a Discord little program that you have, and you can say Gobby and then space Board Game Snobs podcast space driving a truck space and then like black and white space. And so this AI will then go, okay, Gobby, then look up the Board Game Snobs podcast, then look at the Instagram, and it will find something that tags you. So it's like it's got your image somewhere, or your IP address is giving it the idea to check your Facebook page. So it finds an image of you, and then within just a few seconds, it produces a picture that's black and white of you driving a truck. And it can be very eerily your picture because it's stealing from the internet, it's stealing from everything. So that's a lot of it, just a rundown version of it. But that's simply how that kind of works, is that it's a program that can find various pictures and things, and it's got the internet at its fingertips, and then quickly just produces art. So here's my question. If you're designing a game and you want to do artwork and you decide to use this program and you're telling this program what you want and it's spitting it out, and you can use that artwork however you want, and so you proceed to go ahead and make a board game with artwork that you've described to this AI and it spit out, is that wrong? Are you robbing an artist? And so simply there will be a time when computers will be able to look at and read the rule books of every Reiner Knizia game out there, all 300 of them, and be able to say, okay, I want you to produce this mechanic and this mechanic and this mechanic, and the game will just shuffle mechanics around and produce a thing that is probably playable, and say, okay, here's this amalgamation of rules and algorithms, because that's what all board games, that's really what any computer game is. It's just algorithms and things that say, here's this thing, it shall work for you, and it might be a hit, it might not. So is that wrong? That's the question.
Well, I think of like the difference between old school hand-drawn Disney and then Pixar stuff. A lot of that is I mean, some of it they design on the computer and they have artists that do that, but then they're like letting the computer do a lot of heavy lifting.
No, they're not. That's not AI art. That's actually hand-drawn, just using digital art. Like Toy Story was the first digital artwork, but somebody still has to make that. It's not drawn with a pencil, but it is drawn.
But I'm just talking about like the evolution of the product.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, but it's not, that's just a different medium. That's just a different medium to be used.
Right. So as technology progresses, if any of us had skill, some of us may have, I could hop on a computer, create a cartoon to like walk and say hello. As we play board games and technology gets involved, like you're saying, you don't necessarily have something that's Ian O'Toole drawn.
Right.
But maybe Ian O'Toole puts it into his computer and says, make this for me.
Okay.
So then, is that acceptable? Which is what you're asking.
Not necessarily, because I would say that nothing could make...
And I use Ian O'Toole because he's like, I would say he's probably on the top of the heap, right?
Him, Piero, Beth Sobel. I mean, yeah, he's up there. I would say that would be different. So what you're saying is that utilizing AI art is okay if it's used by the artist in that regards.
I'm not saying, I don't know. I'm just presenting that.
You're presenting that idea. So it would be kind of like, I'm using AI as a tool.
Ian,
to make this product. Whereas I would argue that people don't want a AI generated artwork, no matter who's pushing the buttons. They want something that's original from the mind of Ian O'Toole.
In the hand
of, something that he has done to produce that. And I think that adds a certain level of
authenticity.
Yeah.
Which authenticity in itself is, boy, that's another discussion. But I get the point where everybody's upset about terraforming Mars, because basically what it boils down to is that you're cutting out another employee. You're cutting out another element of board gaming. You're saying there are no artists being done here. We can just use clip art or what we want and produce our own art. And so thus we're now eliminating artists from the board gaming milieu, as they would say.
Flavian.
And so thus now you have less people involved in, and thus more profit. And it takes away an element of the process.
Again, I haven't been keeping up super since I stopped driving, listening to podcasts where I got all my news from. This was a similar area with the writers that are on strike in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're wanting to make sure that they basically don't lose their jobs to AI writing.
Right.
Correct.
Affirmative. And that is a possibility. That you would have, and so for instance, I've often joked about how how one of the easiest shows to make is a cop show, because every episode's already been written. Mm-hmm. You can literally just have a database of 500 episodes and say this is this and this and this and this and this. I literally, one of my favorite episodes of any police show of all times, and I have to repeat this because it was such an amazing episode because it was so stupid. But the guy that had the little hand in the Scary Movie show, the butler guy, you remember that? Where the guy, you remember, it was a Scary Movie? That the little butler dude, the weird looking blonde guy that looks like Andy Dick, but he's not. He's like a Quake brand Andy Dick. They had the little hand. He was the butler, and he's always touching stuff with that little hand. Do you remember that?
It's been a long time since I've seen Scary Movie.
He plays a serial killer in this episode of this cop movie, of the cop series that I don't even remember. It's like Third Shift or something like that.
Okay.
So first off, a comedian playing a serial killer, you've hooked me. You have hooked me immediately.
Okay.
Robin Williams doing something like that, you hooked me. So this guy's playing a serial killer, and he has captured somebody, and he shows up at the police station because you know the trope that all serial killers want to be caught. He shows up and is like, this person is going to die at midnight, blah, 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 blah. And so they put him in interrogation. Of course, he plays games with the police. And so what they do is when at the end, midnight rolls around, it's past midnight, and the detective walks in and is like, Oh, it's after midnight. And they couldn't figure out all of his clues. And so he tells them where to go to find the body. And the cop runs out. And as he's running out the door, he realizes that the cop is taking off very quickly. And he asks, as the door swings open, he asks the guard that's outside the door, "Hey, what time is it?" And the guy says, "It's 11:30. They were purposely advancing the clock every time they walked in and telling him the wrong time. That was the whole stick of it. Mm-hmm. So every time they'd go in and interrogate him, they weren't trying to solve his clues. They were just trying to push time forward so that he would eventually tell. Anyways, such a horribly written episode. But it was done in such a way that you really did hook you when it finally got that little twist. Anyways, long story short, every single cop show is from a database of episodes. There's nothing original. From Blue Bloods to The Rookie, they're all the same. They're all the same. So
they just have a little different.
There you go.
So me and Sade and my wife have started watching The Mentalist with Patrick Jane. Have you ever seen Psych? One of Bubba's favorite shows.
I don't watch Psych simply because I have too many people who have got that little goofy pineapple thing, and they think Psych's so wonderful. I did not understand.
The Psych and The Mentalist are the same show,
but the Psych is them faking being.
But he uses the same techniques The Mentalist does.
It just goes,
all ripoffs of Sherlock.
Right.
Just observing somebody.
Which Sherlock took cocaine.
Anyway, so Sade had this discussion because she's like, I hate crime procedural shows.
Right.
Law and Order, name it, like you just did. Hill Street Blues, NYPD, whatever.
Yeah, no, NYPD Blue was
the Ring, not the Ring,
The Wire,
The Wire. The Shield,
The Wire. Now listen, you're treading on thin ice, buddy.
So
you don't know what
I'm
you're talking about.
is,
Walter Goggins.
And see what they did was, and here's the thing, and we're getting way off topic, but here's the thing. So you had your crime procedurals for like, this is how Law and Order takes place. The cops go after them, then they're, caught, then they try them in court. But then you had your shows throughout the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s that were like, the cops are the good guys, we're chasing down the bad guys. Okay, we caught them. Maybe on a certain sad episode, they got away. Or an even sadder episode, one of our team members have died because their contract's out and they want too much money, so they just write them out, right?
Like the guy on CSI.
Yes.
That was smoking weed.
Yes.
He got shot.
Yes.
Because he was smoking weed. Do you remember the days when...
Was that CSI Miami?
No, the original CSI.
The original?
The original.
The Spanish guy?
No. The black dude with the cool hair, the coolest guy on the show.
Okay. I did
got
not
shot.
I never watched OG CSI.
Oh, OG was the best.
I was on CSI Miami with H. Yes,
when Street got killed, the worst shootout ever.
That was it.
First off, why do you have crime scene investigators going around raiding places? That's not true.
Okay,
they don't raid anything.
Anyway, so you had that level of basically, it was like cops are the good guys. And you could just see the way the society is going, because it's like, then you get into The Wire and The Shield where cops are dirty, but they're being dirty to get the job done. That type of thing.
Yeah.
It's a whole different mentality shift.
Right.
NYPD Blue kind of even went that way. It may have been a trendsetter with that.
It was.
H was in there.
Was he?
He was in NYPD Blue.
That's right.
That's right.
He was, like the first
And Dennis Franz showed his buttocks for the first time on public television.
And Dennis Franz was the man.
Is he alive?
His gluteal maximus. Hang on a second. Don't be knocking Dennis Franz. I'm going to look him up.
I'm not sure he's alive still.
No, he's not on RIP. Keep talking.
Okay. So anyway, I'm just talking about the shift in
Dennis Franz buttocks is what I'm Googling. Go ahead.
I think the appearance of his buttocks was like a first on primetime television.
Enrique, thank you that's Dennis Farida. That's not the same man, Enrique.
He's not familiar with him.
This is Dennis Franz.
Yeah, the mustache.
He's kind of like a cross between... he's kind of got that...
David Caruso got a little too big for his britches, left him in NYPD Blue, bombed out in the movies Jade or whatever he made, and then found his way back into CS Miami. Has not been seen since.
Yeah!
Why are we talking about this? Oh, because AI procedurals are all the same. So, Sade, we started watching The Mentalist. Gina watches documentaries about these crime stories all the time. And, lots of times their stories are indeed, real life is stranger than fiction many times. So she was like, why do I like this, but I don't like Gina's documentaries? I said, because you have characters in these shows. You have your archetypes, you have your side characters, and then you have your main characters that have all sorts of nuance to them. They have this and an ability. And like him, he's got this dark past where his family was murdered, but yet he can look at you and read you like Sherlock. He's just a very interesting, good character.
He's still alive.
Really?
Yeah, he's still alive.
Good job. Good job, Dennis. I'm happy. What's David Caruso up to? That's what I need to know.
Right, I'm looking him up
He's been
next.
out since CSI Miami.
David Caruso's not looking good.
He's not?
No, he's not looking good.
Oh, he's a little bit
67.
older.
67.
Really? Well, he never looked great to me.
Nah,
He was super pale.
Well, are you going to go the ginger route?
No.
Okay, I'm just
I
saying.
just said super pale.
Okay, but you're like, we have ginger listeners. I'm just saying.
I mean,
Gingers listen to us. I don't know if they like. Is ginger a term that is acceptable to use? If you're a ginger, please send us a boardgamesnobgmail.com.
I think it's been a thing.
Maybe don't.
I think it's been a thing in the past.
It's not.
I'm not ginger. I'm not redheaded. I don't know. Should I say that? I don't know. Probably not. In today's standard, what can we say? Who's to know?
I'm just saying it. If you're a ginger,
The book
and
of do's and do nots is constantly expanding and decreasing.
Well, if you don't like being called a ginger, email us. And if you don't mind it, email us.
I'm a Marianne.
If you have a soul, email. Because that was a joke I used to always tell about gingers not having a soul. And I stopped telling it because I was told it was inappropriate.
Now that might be.
Had some Karens call in on you?
No, not Karens.
Can we say
Please,
that?
no, because we have
We can't
Karens
say that.
listening too.
That's Karens. If you're
What's-
a Karen,
what's-
email us. Does that offend you?
What's Geoffrey's
Don't be such a
girlfriend's?
Todd.
What's Geoffrey's girl?
Caitlin.
Oh, it's not. She's not Karen.
Her name is Caitlin.
Either way, so my point being, since you get off the topic about cop shows, I feel like that the artwork on Terraforming Mars thing, I can understand why people are upset about it because it is basically undercutting artists. And I, for the most part, like to play games where the artwork is something that I appreciate. And I want to support a person and not a computer in that regard.
I think that's the stance to take since they're like boycotting stuff.
Well, I'm not going to boycott Terraform Mars. Well, let me back
No
that up.
pun included said they're not reviewing nothing AI generated.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, well, we're not taking that stance.
Okay. Let me rephrase that.
Rephrase it. Flavian. Reflavian that.
Rephrase. When it came specifically to this Terraforming Mars dice game AI art, they're like, if you produce AI art in your games, we will categorically.
I'm
putting L's in everything.
It's okay. We love it.
Because I'm used to taking L's in real life.
You
know what I'm
are.
saying?
You're nothing but a big L. Remember when putting that
Big
thumb
L.
up
on my
with your
forehead.
finger and your
R.I.P.
thumb? Yeah, he's dead. We already did an episode where I said he died.
no.
Okay.
So sad. Anyway.
Smash mouth.
Why do the British make THF?
I don't know.
Smash mouth?
Mouth? I don't know. I don't know why they do that.
Why do you do that, Dan?
Ask Dan.
I'm Dan Hughes.
All right. I need to calm down. I'm like getting super sidetracked. Lots of discussions. I'm having a good time.
That's why I'm trying
Despite
to
my
keeping
burst of outrage
I'm keeping
earlier.
you on track. So what's your point? You've said so much here in the past 5 seconds. I don't even remember where we're at. Okay? It's like you said TH elf. Listen, the thing is that what Doplun Included is doing, which I don't care what they do, but we're going to review
everybody's
some.
on board, though. Basically, people are like they're calling for like,
we're
going to boycott this.
We should
thing.
jump on the bandwagon then.
That's what all the cool
The
people are doing.
bandwagon of righteousness.
I'm on. How dare you?
Why? What? Why would they ever?
Why would you?
No, I mean, like, I understand.
Bandwagon of
We're not big
righteousness.
enough to have to jump on a bandwagon.
No, nobody cares what we think, except our dear listeners.
Some people do.
Some people
But
do.
I don't like AI art.
But you know what I find saddening is even in previous podcasts, like up until today, we bring about these topics that I think are really good, and we get little feedback on them these days. And it's like, are our listeners just so used to us bringing up banging topics? They're like, yeah, just another good one.
They don't disagree with us.
They don't disagree.
When you don't send us an email, I assume you agree with us.
I need more emails, specifically emails.
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 I don't know what you're saying. You emphasize that.
The electronic.
Yeah.
You can send a physical copy, I guess, if you know where I live.
Write us a letter.
Write
What's
us a
your
letter.
address?
Hey, don't dox me.
There you go.
I got to take that
We
out.
got a P.O. box. They don't know where
Edit
you
point.
live. Oh, please. Keep going.
Dan was trying to find out where I lived earlier. I wouldn't tell him.
If Dan shows up at your house, that would be weird.
I would be happy.
No, he's a large man.
He's a big guy.
He's a big guy. If you fought
Not as
him,
big as me.
no, I don't know if you could take
He
him.
might be taller.
I don't know if you could take him in a fight.
I could take Dan. Are you
You've
kidding
never
me?
fought. You've never fought. You've never been in a physical altercation.
I've wrestled.
What?
You
Gobby.
know I had a brother growing up, right?
Oh
Gobby.
no,
Gobby.
I'm talking like
No.
no.
What have you done?
Oh,
What have you done?
I know
Has Tina been getting on your nerves? What have you done to her?
Tina's his hamster.
You're a third. I know this is alpaca. That's like.
It's your dinner, Tina.
What were you about? That's something that I was listening to her, as I edit previous podcasts. I'm like, Enrique starts chiming in on topics he has no comprehension
He's
of.
here throwing shade at you.
I know. Go ahead and tell me about wrestling your brothers.
You have none.
I have none, but
You have a bunch of sisters.
Have you wrestled?
You've never wrestled.
Have you wrestled?
yeah, with my sister, yeah.
I'm not.
With
The
Sierra?
defense rests.
With Sierra, yes. But that's still not a physical altercation, though.
Okay. So neither of you have been in physical altercation.
I choose love
What does that mean?
over violence.
No, but that doesn't mean. What if Dan shows up? He's choosing
He can
blood.
punch me in the face. I'm not going to strike him back.
You would not fight Dan Hughes.
I'm not striking anyone
You
in
would
the face.
not fight Dan. You would not.
I might tackle them to the ground.
I would fight Dan Hughes today for no reason, just simply for the fact that he wanted to fight. If you want to fight, I'll fight.
But what
for
are you going to
no
fight?
reason.
Are you talking about punching someone in the face?
Yes.
Yes.
Enrique, calm down. You
I'm
ain't never
just
punched
No,
nobody.
Enrique, have that passion.
No,
Be you.
You're not going to do nothing.
Yeah, you will.
No,
Enrique's
you're
got
not.
my back.
No,
if we
he
roll
ain't
up at
gonna do
Burger
nothing.
King and
I'm
people are
no,
throwing
he's not.
shade,
No,
you got,
he's not.
Hey, you're ride or die, aren't you?
I'll do it.
Oh, sure. Words are cheap.
Hey, words are cheap, but I know. I got you. You got my back.
He ain't nothing.
Actually, don't you have... Didn't you...
Don't you have, didn't you?
Yeah, I
weren't
do.
you?
I am.
Didn't your father teach you how to box?
Yeah, I used to box. Yeah.
Do you still have boxing gloves?
I still have boxing gloves.
But what's the point? You're not ever going to fight anybody. 'Cause
You never know.
shouldn't.
You never know.
Yes, you would have
Why
self-defense.
would you fight someone?
Self-defense.
Actually, I would probably fight Jerry just to fight Jerry.
Now that, all right. You know what? Now I have your back, Enrique.
BGG 2023.
The gloves are coming on.
Coming up. Well, I'll bring my boxing gloves. We'll meet down there, and after the battling
But y'all
tops,
can only fight like Notre Dame Irishman style.
that's how I fight. I'm Irish. I'm 75%
I might
Irish.
still have my gloves at
Your
home.
little tiny glove
Yeah,
hands.
like they're
Little baby hands.
with
I put
just
those
some
on my
padding.
cat the other day to keep his paws warm.
I find that appalling.
I don't know if those because I don't know if an MMA
But they were perfect.
because
Get out of here, meow.
a boxing glove and an MMA glove is
An
is
MMA
different.
glove?
Wait,
Yeah, yeah.
what?
A miniature-
Did you say anime
No,
glove?
UFC.
Anime
He
glove.
said an anime glove.
He's got the
No.
he got anime
No,
gloves.
I'm sorry.
He got he got Japanese women on his gloves. You got Godzilla
No.
on the
He
right.
said an anime glove.
You
No,
got
no,
anime.
MMA.
Anime.
I
He
said
said
not what
MMA.
you said.
He meant MMMA.
Yeah.
Taking him out. Dragon Ball Z.
Listen. We're not going to be fighting anybody unless Dan Hughes shows up here, and I would
Maybe
fight
he
him.
will.
I'll fight him. Just
Why
if
do
he-
you want to fight Dan?
I
Dan
don't
loves
want.
us.
I don't want to fight Dan.
Well, why?
But if he wanted to fight me, I would fight him.
But you're
I love
presuming.
Dan.
You're presuming he wants to fight. Why would he travel all the way from Norchester, England, over to
You
here?
said he asked where you live.
He's wanting to find out where I live
Why?
because he wants to come visit.
Then let him come
He
visit.
loves me.
But
He's
so
my
he
may
podcast.
hands.
want to show up to throw hands.
He's my podcast.
You know how the British are. Last time they showed up here, they tried to tell us we couldn't have freedom. and such.
And
we
they
had
try to
throw
give us
tea.
tea.
I know about history. That's why you got to throw hands every once in a while. They spell color with a U.
But Dan's my bro, my podcast bro.
He doesn't
You
know
can still
you.
throw hands with
Even
your
though he
bro.
spells
He's
it with
always
a U.
inviting me over to his home.
Well, you should show up. And you should punch your brother.
But why would I do that?
The established dominance.
I don't hit.
I know. You don't slap.
Wait, how tall is he?
I slap.
You're a slapper.
No. I
Bubba's
don't strike.
text-
I
Bubba's-
prefer not to strike anyone.
Bubba's texting me.
Bubba's always.
I would like to strike someone.
But why? You shouldn't, Enrique.
Just
That's
in
the problem
case.
with the world today. The world is striking everyone and against themselves, and stop the striking.
Because they're not disciplined enough.
SAG-AFTRA. We need movies next year.
What? SAG-AFTRA?
Sorry, I
Yeah.
made a pun.
That
Sorry.
that was not a great pun. Look,
SAG-AFTRA is who's striking. The Screen Actors Writing Guild.
that is such a good pun. I'm sorry I missed it. Bubba texted me at the wrong time. Speaking of art, which would have been great to do this hard merge a little bit ago when we were talking about art, because we were going to do a review of Simon's game Classic Art by Reiner Knizia, which is a game that I purchased at a friendly game store and not a local game store, one that's 150 miles away from me. And when I got it, there was no rule book in it. And I sent Simon an email and said, hey, there's no rule book in this. And I like paper. And they said, take it back to your local board
Jack.
game. And I was like, I'm not taking it back because I have to drive. So I'll just download the PDF. So now I have I have a poof.
What does a PDF stand for?
Personal data file. I do not know if that's what that means. Google that,
There you go.
Enrique.
Producer. Google.
Producer. I just threw that out there.
Sounds good.
It sounded right.
It sounds right.
But you know what's dangerous about sounding right? Is that it doesn't necessarily mean.
Portable document format.
You were
Close.
way off.
Way off. Samsonite. I was way off. Can I say something for a second? My poor son. Jax, Daddy. I've got him telling this joke that every time somebody said, this is going to come back to get me. Every time something is said around our house, Jack thinks it's funny now to say that word and say, I hardly know her.
No. Where did he get that from?
I don't know. Maybe I told him that's
Jerry,
funny. I laughed.
wow.
So he'll be like, just say something. Say something right now. Just say a line.
It's time to go to bed.
Go to no, something else.
What was the term he says?
Term, I hardly know her. See, that's
there you
just
go.
that. He'll
Right.
just say a word from
Right,
your
I hardly
sentence,
know
and
her.
I
I got
hardly
you.
know her.
Okay.
And I laugh every time he does it, so he thinks he's telling a joke,
Gotcha.
and it's not good.
No, it gets real. It can get real. Yeah, sticky
Yeah,
situation.
sticky
there.
situation.
That's-
So-
I hardly know her. No, that's terrible.
I know. I'm
Your
a horrible
son.
father.
I saw a thing the other day because I'm in a
Support
I'm in a
group.
like sci-fi fan.
You're in a
I'm in a
support group?
sci-fi fantasy book group.
What? Whoa,
Sorry. It's-
whoa, a minute. Tell me a little bit about that, nerd. You're in a sci-fi fantasy group?
And they posted this meme, and it was basically the same thing, but it's like,
Is it the book group?
yeah, but it's like
What book are you reading? You don't read.
the wind-up girl.
The wind-up girl? Okay, continue.
Anyway, so they're like, tell us the opening line of any book. But then I can't exactly remember the phrase, but it was like basically, but then add, but that was before the dragons came.
Oh, yeah.
And it was quite humorous. I thought so.
The wind-up girl is a biopunk science fiction
I
novel.
love some punk.
What's biopunk? I know cyberpunk. I know
It's basically cyberpunk.
steampunk. I know that.
It's not the steampunk because it's not old, like, blimps and stuff. I think it might be I don't know. I've never heard that term in my life. I'm assuming it might be biopunk because it's like
Global warming and biotechnology.
Right, there you go. Because like there's no food and everything they produce is engineered food. And this guy's looking for food that his
It won the Nebula Award and the Hugo Award in 2010.
it's a legit book.
Really?
But David Allen said it's basically kind of a hard read.
Who's David Allen?
He's in our Discord.
Oh, that
He's
David
on
Allen.
our Facebook.
Oh, that David Allen.
Yes.
He says it's a hard read.
He said it was difficult.
Why does he says it's a hard read?
I don't know why, but there's lots of apparently he goes endures difficult times.
That's me. I'm a difficult man. I endure difficult times. I should read The Wind-Up Girl.
I'll check it out.
I will. Thank you for this.
Okay.
Is there a reason why you interrupted me to tell me about your weird cyberpunk?
We started something, and then you said something, and then I said something, and then we got off track.
That's this podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Garrulous.
So, classic art by Reiner Knizia at
Who
Simon.
did the art on that?
This classic artist. It's literally. Do you realize it's lit? Are you asking me?
Is he screenshotting pics of art, of classic art? Is that AI generated?
I can't help. I'm trying to. All right. I'm not saying this. Give me a second. Do you know what this picture is? Have you seen this?
That's the Mona Lisa.
Oh my God.
Obviously.
Listen, okay. So yes, it has pictures of classic artwork for which they have just clipped and various sculptures. Art. It's not clipped art. I'm saying it's actual. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get through the explanation of this game. So classic art, as everybody knows that our dear friend, whose name leaves me right now, it's his favorite game, modern art. Is it his favorite game?
It was. Ben,
is it his favorite game?
Benjamin Maddox.
Because I love...
Presently, it's Through the Ages.
Okay, well, modern art is a great game.
Modern art's in his top 10, I believe.
And it's in my top 10. It used to be. I can't remember. We got to redo our top 10. Put that on the schedule.
Oh, sure.
We'll do it before BGG.
Sure, let's go it up.
Well, calm yourself. If you'd come to BGG, we'd have time to do it. I'll do it. I wonder.
Everything's my fault.
I wonder if Chad's coming to BGG.
No.
Me and Chad will do.
No, he's a spring guy like me.
He knows I'm coming, so he might come with me.
He's a spring guy like me.
Chad, come to BGG. He'll come to BGG. So, classic art is a rework, not a reworking. It's a different game completely from modern art. Let's say it's a prequel because it does take away a certain mechanic, which interestingly enough is the main mechanic from modern art, which is the bidding. There is no bidding in classic art. In classic art, all you're doing is playing from a hand that you are dealt of various cards that match one of 5 different elements out there on the game. And what you're doing is placing out 2 cards, and then you can, if you like, make a prediction of how many of those cards will be played and there at the end of the round, whether it'll be less than 4, more than 5, more than 6, more than 7, less than 1, whatever it might be. And those predictions will give you prestige points, which are basically, essentially, the victory points of the game. I like this game because it's super simple. 2 to 5 players, plays in 30 minutes, and all you're doing is playing 2 cards. Those cards either go out to those various sections, or they may have a card that takes away art from a various section. Super simple. Very easy. Quick to teach. Don't like the actual color palette. I won't say the art. The art's great, but the color palette, they chosen, not the hues.
Hughes Jackman.
No, the Hugh Hefners.
Hughes Hefner.
Who are really hard Hugh Hefners of the world.
Earthy Hughes.
Earthy Hughes. Because I can't
the
tell.
Gray, the green, and the purple.
That's
are
not
hard
green.
to differentiate.
That's teal.
Exactly.
Teal.
Make it green. Make it gray.
It's a bluish green. And the yellow's more of a mustard.
Yes.
And the red's not a scarlet red. It's like a lighter red. What's a light red? Like
a light red?
Like chartreuse? Is that red?
Fuchsia?
That's the one I'm looking for.
Rose?
No, rose is darker. And a rose with so many thorns. There's a poem that I'm trying to quote that I can't remember.
Every rose has a thorn.
But that's not a poem.
Every night has its dawn.
That's a song.
Yeah.
But that's not a poem.
A rose by any other name.
No, not that rose.
Jack Dawson's Rose.
No, that's what I mean.
Shoved him off the door. It's like, goodbye, Rose. I love you.
That wasn't sung by the Doors.
The door was big enough.
They did the intro to Apocalypse Now. Either way, classic art is an excellent card game that kind of disguises itself as a board game, for which I was shocked by how much I liked it.
I was shocked by how much I liked it.
So after getting over the Simon's response of just take this game back to your friendly local board game shop and swap it out, which it's not local. I'm not driving back there. I downloaded the PDFs, the personal digital folder, and read the rules myself. And now having to play this game, which I thought was kind of going to be a drag because it was just play 2 cards and maybe make a prediction of what's going to happen at the end. This game slaps like gobby.
This game has layers.
It does. And what I liked
an
about
onion.
this is that Reiner does exactly what he always does. He takes a simple concept and puts a twist on it.
Several twists on this game.
So this game is, of course, play 2 cards. But out of the deck, all these cards fit one of the 5 different categories. But some of these cards take cards away from that category, which is a neat little twist.
Nice little twist.
And that does make it, that's the first little twist. The next little twist is at the end of the round.
Second twist.
When you have 3 cards left, you ditch 1 card and you're forced to play the other 2. And all the players play them simultaneously. So that last round is kind of like a surprise where you get to screw over the other players.
So, real quick, you're saying the rounds, you get 11 cards.
No, that's just 11 cards with 3 players.
Okay, well, does it change with
Yes,
each level?
yes. It changed
From
with
2 to 5?
Yes.
So from 2, it's the one set,
Yes,
3,
as I said,
4,
yes.
5?
No. Yes, with each different amount of players, you get different amount of cards.
Is the amount of rounds the same, though, I wonder?
If you had different amount of cards.
You don't know. Maybe with less players, you get to play more cards each round, like 3 instead of 2.
No, it's the same.
You only ever get to play 2 cards per round.
Yes, you're making this way more complicated.
I'm just asking. I'm not making it complicated. I'm asking a question because we played a 3-player game.
Yes, you play 2
I'm
cards.
trying to determine how many rounds there were.
It doesn't matter.
And
Nobody cares. You walked right into it. You walked right
I didn't walk into it.
You did.
I know. I expect it.
I know you don't walk.
I run. So in a 3-player game, you get 11 cards.
8.
You get
It doesn't matter. Nobody matters.
2.
It doesn't matter.
No. Then 3.
What are
So
you
it's
doing?
like 5 rounds again. It's 5 rounds.
But that's just, it doesn't matter. Why does it care?
Well, it's 4 rounds.
Why does it care? Why do you care?
Why does it care?
Why does it
does
care?
not, unless
I
it's
know.
AI.
It doesn't.
It's self-aware.
So why are you
And it's like, ooh, I care.
So why are you asking
I'm going
this?
to start generating my own art.
So why are you asking? You don't generate art. You generate content.
I generate farts.
You generate
That's
content.
right there. It's right there. I'm sorry, that's lowbrow.
Classic fart.
Let's-
That could be your first. That could be your first board game. You could do what you could do.
fart.
You could make every. You could just redo every Reiner Knizia game and just make a classic fart, modern fart, and it just be the same dull.
All right, say on board.
I'll say boy, and just do the same artwork, just random
Oh,
artwork.
we've reached the bottom.
That's your tagline. AI art.
Okay. This game presents itself is very simple, like Jerry said, very straightforward.
Do you want to end your whatever you went through?
I don't know. I don't forgot.
I know because you went through this whole line.
All right,
that
shut
nobody
up.
cared.
We're not talking about that right now.
I know, but what was
Nobody
the
cares. Nobody cares. All right. So
Exactly.
The thing about classic art is
classic fart?
that's my joke. It presents itself as very
Why are you
simple,
laughing at your
which
own
it
joke?
is. I love my own jokes. The thing that Reiner Knizia, great designer, by the way,
He's a good designer.
fantastic designer.
Good designer. Yeah.
I like games, and I've said this before, especially with Royals,
I like games.
that have progressiveness to them. The way this game starts off is not the way it ends, because the scoring in this game is what makes it really interesting, because you have to pass this threshold before your score even counts. And once you pass that threshold, you're good to go. If you don't pass the threshold, your score does not count.
Hold on to your butts.
So,
What show was that?
Jurassic Park. Jurassic Fart.
I set you up. I set you up coming and going. And you asked me, this is not going to work, whatever that quote was from Pretty Woman earlier. That, like, how am I supposed to know that? Nobody watched Pretty Woman.
Oh, no, you idiot.
I didn't watch Pretty
You're
Woman.
really showing your tail right now.
Who cares about Pretty Woman?
Roy Orbison.
Roy Orbison. That's the only thing that was about that show. Remember when they used to make movies so that they could sell CDs?
Yes.
Like wicka wicka wow.
Can't Buy Me Love.
Wicka wow. Wicka
The
wow,
Beatles
wow.
shot up with
Wicka
when
wow,
he
wow west.
Can't Buy Me Love.
I'm talking about Will Smith. Who cares about the Beatles? They ain't done nothing in years. I'm talking about Will Smith. He still slaps.
I thought that's a good joke.
Yeah,
that's a good joke.
That joke's fine. Why aren't you laughing?
That's a good
Why
joke.
aren't you laughing?
I am laughing.
he
chuckles.
Inside.
You
No,
didn't.
Because he doesn't get it. He
doesn't.
didn't watch the Oscars. He don't even
No,
know what
I-
you're talking about
No,
right
I know
now.
what he's talking about.
You do?
Yes.
Who did he slap?
No, don't.
No, wait, no. Who did he slap?
Chris Rock.
Okay,
Sorry.
okay.
Will Smith's wife?
Jada.
Look at you.
What's her last name?
Summit.
What's her last name?
Smith.
Okay, you know what,
Okay.
Enrique? I'm impressed. I really didn't think you would know. Like, honestly, I did not think
It's
you would know.
hyphened, by the way.
Okay, I've lost track of everything I was saying,
But
but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't
because
matter.
classic art is a classic game.
Very
It appears
simple.
very simple.
It is simple.
We went into it, and on like 20, I know, 15 to 20 minutes in, we were like one step from ending the game.
Correct. We were at the end game.
But we did not end it because we did not pass this certain barrier. And it kept going and going and going.
We were at end game part 1.
And the game evolved.
But then we went to end game part 2.
This game has an evolution to it that I really appreciate, especially scoring wise.
Which was a marvel.
Exactly.
So, what did you think, Enrique?
I like.
You won it,
I want it.
which we were
Out of
shocked.
10, what do you give this?
Hmm.
Always enjoy Enrique's out of 10s.
I wouldn't say it'd be like a 10 off the bat.
Because that's an icky.
I would say about an 8.
Shut up. An 8?
An 8 at least.
That's a simple game for an 8. But it's still good.
Yeah.
Classic art or high society?
Ooh. Well, first off, that's a bidding game.
I like the prediction.
I'm just saying, I
game.
present both of them to you. Which do you want to say you want to play?
Probably classic art.
You're out of your freaking mind.
Freaking mind.
If I want
No.
prediction,
Prediction. I
No
like.
breathing.
No.
Well,
Can't.
Prediction.
No planning. No, I like. Well, it's a good question. But the only reason that they're just artwork games.
Here's the thing for me.
Okay.
And I said this while we were playing this game. This game was very good. Don't get me wrong. This game was very good. And for a relatively short game.
High society.
Classic art. I'm talking about classic art.
Okay, go ahead. I'm saying
For me,
I
high
would-
society
is better.
Is the Reiner Knizia. For me, the high society, you disagree, but to me, it's the pinnacle of Reiner Knizia.
Yeah, because it's modern art in terms of bidding.
Modern art is, yes, they're both right up there together. High society edges it out. Specifically for me, due to excitement. I love the bidding and the whole angst in high society of...
Let me back this up. You're comparing high society and classic art because there's simplicity.
Correct.
Okay, there you go. I understand you now. Yes. So still high society.
I mean, if I'm going to break out 2 games real quick with a group of 3 to 5 people, I would choose high society, and we would all be laughing and hooting and hollering and having a better time for me.
Classic art is more of a gamer's game, though. I think because
Indeed.
it does have
Because it's got a lot more. That's why I'm talking about the levels and the layers and the evolution of the game, specifically with that scoring mechanism.
It does. Reiner knows how to put the twist on the scoring.
And when you put those cards out, you can add to a deck or you can subtract from a deck. That's absolutely these little things he adds to these games where you can add to the, what do you call that? Gallery? What is that?
So what Gabi's referring to about the scoring. So essentially there's 5 different types of artwork that you're trying to gain prestige on. And it's from 0 to 10 is the scoring track. And so when you begin the game, naturally, as you're making predictions, because that's one of the optional moves that you can make, you lay down 2 cards, you make a prediction, how many cards are going to be in this particular gallery? Less than 4, less than 3, or more than 5, more than 6, whatever it might be, you score X amount of prestige points. The more certain that you are, the more points that you can score, because you can say, I'm just going to put 1 prediction token here, or I can put 2, which is going to double my score, or if you're feeling salty, you can put down a high stakes token at the very beginning of the round and do times 3. The problem is if you don't get that prediction right, you don't get those tokens back unless you get down to having just one token less at the end of the round. Then you get all your tokens back. So it's essentially being able to manage your scoring tokens, I guess we can call them your prediction tokens, make a big difference. That's one of the hooks in the game, plus the actual scoring. As you run up these tracks, you can only score 10 points. After you hit 10, you don't care anymore. If you happen to get all the way up the track, you're just done with that. You don't worry about it, which was a flaw in the game, I thought at the beginning. But no, actually, that adds another layer because everything above 5 scores. Everything below 5 prestige points does not. And so the game ends as soon as all the tracks have somebody above 5 prestige points. Again, another smart move on the design. So Reiner just has these ways of taking a very basic, simple game and putting these little twists on it that make it amazing. And classic art from Simon Games is one of those. A 2 to 5 player, 30-minute game that it's going in the collection. It's another one I love. And it's a very, very simple game to teach. Even if all you have is the PDF, the probable data file to teach it off of. It's very clear and very concise and a well done job, Reiner.
PDF, parameters defined.
That's going to do it for this episode. We've talked a long time about art. Please send us, and farts, please send us an email at boardgamesnobs@gmail.com.
Personal deep faults, as the British say.
Faults?
Faults.
Faults?
Personal deep faults.
Faults? They have faults. Does Dan Hughes have deep faults? I'm telling you, if he shows up at your house, I'm fighting him. I'll fight him for you.
You can fight him for me. I'll give him a hug.
Would you fight him, though, if he wanted to fight?
No, I don't fight.
So if he demanded to fight you, if he challenged
Unless
you
it's with words.
to a duel,
No.
you wouldn't?
What sort of duel?
I'll take Gobby's place.
You're
What
going
sort
to
of
be
duel?
his second?
I'll be
My
his
proxy.
second.
Your proxy?
I don't have an issue with that. If you want to die in my stead.
That's fine.
What
by
kind
me.
of duel?
Oh, yes. What kind of duel?
I don't know, just a regular fashion duel. What kind of duels do they have in England?
Would fencing be one of them?
I can build a fence real fast.
He doesn't know how to sword fight.
I can take a fence very quickly.
I know. At nothing. How dare you? But no, you could fight him. I don't think you could take Dan.
I'll probably not win, but I'm still going to fight him.
But why are you so eager to fight? That concerns me.
Don't know.
Because that's
You know what, Enrique, let me punch you in that nose one time, make it bleed, you cry. You will not want to fight anyone.
Enrique
Have you
took
ever
his glasses off.
Have you ever played tetherball?
Enrique took his glasses off. Did you just say tetherball?
Have you ever played tetherball?
Is this the second grade?
Have you ever played tetherball?
Is that the ball
always-
that's tethered to the pole?
I'm
Yes.
asking Enrique.
I actually have one. You remember, like that just big white pole that's
That
in
was
the
your
backyard?
old tether pole? Well,
Yeah.
You had a tether ball
Yeah.
pole?
Yes.
My God.
Okay, so here. I remember several times in middle school, a strong serve from the opposing player hitting me right in the face. And it hurt real bad. And I'm like, if this is anything like being punched in the nose, I'm out.
Nah.
I am out.
We got to end this episode. This is stupid. This is beyond stupid. Okay.
Or as the British say, tetherball.
Tetherball? That's probably like they think they're going to a dance.
Going to the tetherball.
This is Jerry.
This is Gabby.
Thank you for tolerating this episode of the Board Game Snobs. Stay classy.